Hello and welcome to the Daily Fantasy 5 for the Thursday, July 4th. This is episode 134. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Please be safe, have fun out there, and don't drink and drive, all that good stuff. All right, today we are covering the 5 things you need to know in the world of fantasy sports. We have one story from the NFL, and then we're going to cover fantasy football tight ends numbers 11 through 15 today. So these are the guys that you might have at the end. I'm sorry, it's not 11 through 15, it's 6 through 10. So these are the guys that you'll be rostering this year at tight end if you miss out on the big three. So it's an important show. We'll get to all that after a word from our sponsor, www.mathradio.com, where you can pick up an online math course for as little as $9.99 to help your kids ages 7 through 17 to do better in school, get higher grades, score even better on exams, and get into college. That is www.mathradio.com. Pick up an online course, $9.99, lifetime membership, only a one-time fee of less than $10. Mathradio.com. All right, so the big news out of the NFL, we talked a bit about it yesterday. We all know that Zeke Elliott had a meeting with Roger Goodell to discuss the incident in Las Vegas, and as I suspected, there will be no punishment. So I feel a lot better about drafting Zeke number 1 overall last week. That makes me feel good. So no punishment for Ezekiel Elliott as far as the NFL is concerned. So if you do like him, feel free to pick him in the top 4, even number 1 if you think he is the man this year, as I do. Okay, no other real big news in the world of fantasy sports. There were a couple deals that went down, but nothing in the NBA, but nothing that's going to affect any kind of fantasy. Kyle Korver hasn't chosen a team yet. It seems like he is going to be traded or released. Josh Jackson got moved, but I don't think anybody's starting him either. So we're going to move on to the fantasy football tight end group. Okay, at number 10 is where we're going to start today. We've done all the other running back or tight ends. Let's go through our list so far. At number 20, we had Benjamin Watson. Number 19, Jimmy Graham. 18, Jordan Reed. 17, Delaney Walker. 16, Hunter Henry. 15, the rookie TJ Hawkinson. At 14, we had Noah Fant. 13, Kyle Rudolph. At 12, David Njoku. And at 11, we had Austin Hooper. All right, my number 10 tight end this year is Chris Herndon. He is out of the New York Jets. He finished as the 16th overall tight end last year. So he was a rookie, and he was targeted only 56 times, but he was pretty productive, being number 16 overall. The Jets don't have many weapons for Sam Darnold to throw to. So I think Herndon can become that safety blanket that Darnold might need. Now, it's only his second year. Usually tight ends take a jump in their third or fourth years, but if he got 56 targets last year, maybe he goes up to 75. I could see that getting him into the top 10 if he can stay healthy for the entire season. So if he can get, a boost, maybe even up to 80, 85 targets, I could certainly see him hauling in 65 receptions and 7 touchdowns this season for the New York Jets and Sam Darnold. Okay, moving on to number 9. I have Trey Burton from the Chicago Bears. The Bears tight end finished in the top 10 last season at number 7 overall, but he certainly didn't reach the expectations fantasy owners had for him. He played all 16 games, but wasn't all that great on a game-by-game basis. He had 54 receptions for 569 yards and 6 touchdowns, which is fine, but his per-game numbers, which we talked about earlier, would rank him as number 16 overall. So, yes, he was healthy, but he was very, very mediocre while healthy. So this really doesn't help you much, as you can kind of stream tight ends to get better numbers than that. So if you miss out on the top tight ends, fine. Trey Burton is okay to grab at the end of the draft. He's being drafted in 25% of ESPN leagues. So, you can get him in the very, very late rounds, except if you're in the deepest of leagues. All right. I don't really love him. Number 8, Vance McDonald is my guy out of Pittsburgh. He finished 10th last year, and he's a tight end I end up with more often than not in fantasy drafts. He's going, 10th or 107th overall in terms of fantasy. I feel more comfortable grabbing him in the, let's say, 9th round versus someone like Ingram in the 5th, right? Or OJ Howard, or any of those guys that you had to grab a lot earlier. It's just the value you have to give up isn't the value the value between the 5th round and the 9th round is so huge, but I don't think the value between players, between Vance McDonald, OJ Howard, Evan Ingram, I don't think those guys are that far apart. So I would much rather have a guy like Vance McDonald or Chris Herndon at the end of the draft or towards the bottom than one of those other guys. But anyway, let's see. He had a career year in targets last year, which gave him the top 10 finish. The obvious upside is that Antonio Brown is gone, so that's a lot of targets to go around. Obviously, Juju's going to get more of those targets. James Washington probably will become the number 2 and get some more targets. But there certainly should be at least, 25 targets or so that are going to go towards McDonald. And that potential for a bigger role in the offense will outweigh the injury history that McDonald has for me. So I'm certainly willing to take a chance on him to be my tight end in a standard league, 10-team, 12-team. I'm totally fine with that. I'll take him in the 8th, 9th round and be happy. I feel like he's going to have a big year, perhaps top 5. Okay, next up we have Eric Ebron, Indianapolis tight end, as number 7. He finished the year number 4, and despite that 4th place finish, he's being drafted as a number 8 tight end. That is a big drop. It's right around where I have him. So there's lots of reasons why we don't trust Ebron this year. In 2018, he saw over 100 targets, which was a huge jump, and he had 13 touchdowns. Well, there's 2 obvious problems with Ebron. Number 1, when Doyle was healthy last year, Jack Doyle saw the field more than Ebron did, right? So Ebron might not even be the starter this year for the Indianapolis Colts, despite having 13 touchdowns last year. And then problem number 2 is that the Ebron season seems like a complete fluke. In his previous, I think, 4 or 5 seasons, his career high had been 5 touchdowns. He was an absolute letdown until last year. And like I said, I just don't trust him that he's going to get on the field. There's no way he's going to repeat those touchdown numbers. So, I mean, I'm not going to end up with Eric Ebron on pretty much any of my teams, even though I have him ranked at number 7. All right, at number 6, another guy that I really, really like, not like Eric Ebron, but like Vance McDonald. I also like Chris Herndon from this group. I love A.J. Howard, but it seems like everybody else has him as their sleeper as well. Despite a 12th place finish last year, he's being drafted 6th overall at tight end. So that's a pretty big jump. The obvious problem with O.J. Howard is his health. He's missed 8 games in his first 2 seasons. But the upside is so crazy. There's a lot of upside with O.J. Howard. I would not be shocked if he finished the year as number 1 among tight ends, even above the big 3 of Kelsey, Kittle, and Ertz. That guy has that much upside because Tampa Bay is going to be passing the ball all year long due to their poor defense. And O.J. Howard should finish the year 3rd in targets. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So that's a lot of work, and he has all kinds of skills. He finished 5th per game in fantasy points last year, right? So if he can stay healthy for an entire year, I think he's a top 5 guy for sure. However, he hasn't stayed healthy yet, right? So what are the odds he stays healthy this year with an even bigger workload? I kind of doubt it. And the other problem is you need to draft him if you want to get him in the 5th or 6th round. And that means you got to pass up guys like Calvin Ridley, Tariq Cohen, and Kenyon Drake. It really does hurt your team to draft a tight end this high. I mean, obviously it hurts more if you're drafting, one of the big 3 in the 2nd or 3rd round. But even to take a tight end in the 5th round, it really does hurt the depth of your team when you're passing up on guys like Calvin Ridley. I mean, your wide receiver or running back depth is really going to be hurt. And again, would you rather have O.J. Howard in the 5th or Vance McDonald in the 9th? That's the question you have to ask yourself. For me, every single draft, it has been the answer of Vance McDonald in the 9th. Okay, those are tight ends 6 through 10. We're doing our top 5 tomorrow. We'll be back on the show to do that for you. We'll talk about any fantasy news. Obviously, I didn't mention it. Kawhi Leonard has not picked a team yet as of 12:02 on July 4th. My prediction is that he would pick a team today. Maybe it still happens, but nothing has come out yet. So please visit our sponsor, www.mathradio.com, to pick up an online math course for you and your child for as little as $9.99. Help them get better grades, score higher on exams, and even get into college. Okay, also, if you're listening to the show on podcast form, please give us a 5-star rating and a nice review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, please hit that red subscribe button. Leave us a comment below. All right, see you tomorrow.